Hi there, I'm here. Today we're going to talk about homemade dog food for sensitive stomachs. It's kind of a two-part series. Last week I did one on how to balance a dog's diet, and this is part 2. So if you missed last week's video, be sure to go back and check that out because it's really important information before you start making your own dog food. Okay, so let's get into it. But real quick, before we get into the recipe, I want to tell you about our raw goat milk. They're also full of fiber and vitamins and minerals. Now what I do is I use frozen green beans. I don't even bother to thaw them out. I just use frozen green beans. Cider vinegar helps balance the pH in the dog's gut, and it helps improve digestion. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn off the heat and open this up, and I'm just gonna give this a stir. This should be cool enough to touch. It's not burning hot anymore, so it should be cool enough to touch. You need to watch last week's video on how to balance a dog's diet because this is important information. Before you start making your own dog food, so please go back and check out that video. Also, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. This really helps us out a lot. If you know someone who has a dog with a sensitive stomach, please share this video with them. They will love you for it, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Now we've re-gone. Give this a good stir, and you will notice that the rice has kind of broken down and thickened this mixture. That's what you want. Alright, now we're going to get out our immersion blender. I'm just going to transfer this over to a big bowl. We're going to blend this until it's smooth. Now if you don't have an immersion blender, you can transfer this into a regular blender, but it's going to be really thick, and it's going to be hard to blend. So I recommend getting an immersion blender. It makes it super easy. It blends it right in the pot without having to transfer anything anywhere. Coconut oil is high in fiber and it helps bind everything together. It's also a good source of fat, which helps with the absorption of certain nutrients. It's perfectly blended, and now we've re-gone. Portion this out into containers that we can freeze. I'm just using these Pyrex containers that I have. I think I got them at Walmart. They're freezer safe, and it's a good size for a couple days worth of food. So I'm just going to divide this up into 4 portions. There we go. I'm gonna cover these, and then I'm just gonna lay them down in the freezer. You can just pull these out as you need them. You can keep them in the freezer for several months. I wouldn't keep them longer than that, because eventually the quality starts to go downhill. But you can freeze these, and then all you have to do is pull one out and put it in the fridge overnight to thaw, and that it. Your dog will love it. Now we're going to cover this and cook it on low for about 6 hours. So I'm going to set a timer for 6 hours, and I'll come back when it's ready. I'll put about a half a cup in there. Then I add a 1/4 cup of chopped carrots. I usually chop them up into tiny pieces just to make sure that they get softened enough. When they re-cooking, because carrots can be really tough, and they have a lot of fiber, which is really good for a dog's digestive system, but you want to make sure that they're soft. So I like to chop them up into tiny little pieces. And then I also add a 1/4 cup of chopped celery. Again, you want to chop this up really finely so that it cooks down well. It's very high in probiotics. A lot of people use it for their dogs, for their sensitive stomach, or to help with allergies, or even just as an immune support. You can use beef, but I try to stay away from beef when I'm making recipes for sensitive stomachs, because beef can be a little harder to digest than chicken or turkey. So ground chicken or ground turkey is a really good choice. I'm going to use 3/4 pound of ground turkey today. You'll want to brown that turkey and drain any of the excess grease. So I'm just going to transfer this over to a pan on the stove and break it up and cook it until it's no longer pink. There we go. It's almost done. It's just a couple more pieces right there. Perfect. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to drain some of this excess grease right here. I'm just going to pour it right back into the slow cooker. There we go. The first thing you want to do is grab yourself a slow cooker. I prefer the smaller size slow cookers for making dog food because they make smaller batches. And since I only have one dog, I don't want to make too much. So it's just him and me. So we're using a small slow cooker. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pour 4 cups of water into this slow cooker. Then you're going to put a cup of white rice into the slow cooker. I use brown rice sometimes, but when I'm making dog food, I tend to use white rice because the gluten in the brown rice sometimes can upset their stomach. So just stick with white rice for this recipe, and put a 1/4 cup of barley into the slow cooker. Barley is a really good source of fiber. It also contains vitamin B, and it helps with digestion. So it's perfect for a dog with a sensitive stomach. I actually have customers who will call and they'll say, hey, my dog has a sensitive stomach. Can I give them some goat milk? And absolutely, this is a good option. Yes, you can give your dog some goat milk. In fact, Goats are known for having more digestible proteins than most other mammals, including cows. So it's easier for dogs to digest goat milk versus cow milk, for example. But also it's high in probiotics, like I said, which can help with sensitive stomachs, can help with digestion, and it's great for immune support. So if your dog does need to see a vet, of course, take them to the vet. But a lot of times these things can be prevented or remedied by improving your dog's diet and adding in some goat milk. So if you're interested in learning more about our raw goat milk, check the link below. Okay, now let's get into the recipe. So let's start off with the base of this recipe. The next ingredient is green beans. Green beans are easy to digest, so they're perfect for a sensitive stomach. Now for the protein, I'm going to use ground turkey. You can use ground chicken. Now we're going to put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in there and a tablespoon of coconut oil. All right, so it's been 6 hours. I stirred it a couple times while it was cooking, and look at this. It looks so good. All right, so I'm just going to set this down. Now remember what I said in the beginning.